I believe, at 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific with Clemson and North Carolina. ACC action for Saturday. Okay. Here we go. This will resume at game number 141 and 142 with Clemson, a 10-point favorite here against North Carolina State. I hope I didn't say North Carolina there on the first one, but with North Carolina State here. And, well, while Clemson in a way, they've kind of found a little bit of momentum, but again, maybe they haven't. I mean, what was Dabo talking about the other day? And, okay, so I know I've just started this report right now on this game, but I just want to mention James Harden has been downgraded to doubtful. That note just coming across. Okay, I'm going to try to get this one started here with Clemson and North Carolina State. And while Clemson seems to have made a few strides here and there, what was Dabo, saying in some of his post game? It just sounds like they're not, look, he's having to do it with a new staff, or his staff has changed over the last couple of years. Maybe this is why they are kind of behind the times a little bit, or for whatever reason, right? DJ didn't work out at Clemson. Seems to be working out fine at Oregon State. Ray says he wants to lay it with Clemson. There's no way I'm laying this with Clemson. I still don't trust them in laying any points. I mean, I barely can get them to win. They're 4-3 straight up, 2-5 against the spread. NC State is not a good spread team either. They're 4-3 and 1-5-1 against the spread. But and they've failed 15 of their last 21 games actually against the spread. But Clemson has failed 6 of their last 8, and I don't want to trust them on the road necessarily at all. With Klubnik, he's good, but whatever they were saying in that, in that game. Look, I know they beat NC State. They last year at home, and they got the money, but in last week's loss to Miami, it was just a cluster. It didn't look good at all for Clemson. I think there's, that's where the problems lie. And now to play in a second straight road game here, has NC State been, bad? No doubt. They were just dreadful against Duke. They could only manage 3 points. They failed to cover the spread, but they beat Marshall at home before that as a favorite, barely got the money. They held Louisville to 13 points in a home loss and a push. They were a 3-point dog, and they pushed in that one. So they got clobbered at home by Notre Dame, so maybe you can look at that as an equivalent matchup. Back on September the 9th, Notre Dame came into Clemson and won 45-24. So that might be an equivalent matchup that you might look at and say here that, Clemson is the much better team here. But I've got to take the points. I just cannot lay double digits right now with this Clemson team. There just seems to still be something amiss to me. Nobody has them up there with Notre Dame, right? So even though Notre Dame clobbered NC State, I don't know if Clemson necessarily does here. Can they get the win? Probably and sure. But can they get that double-digit win? I don't know about that. I'll take the points, says Thomas. Got a matchup here with Memphis taking on North Texas, 185 at 186. In this one in Memphis, was as low as 6.5. It opened mostly 7 when we were on the opening line show last week. And let's see here. Let me see how that movement went because it opened 7, went to it looked like it maybe went down to 6.5, and now has ended up back here at a higher price at 7.5. I do see Bovada with a move just recently back down to 7.5 in this one, but. That total, I'm not interested. Look, 70. I understand. I get it. I know what everybody's thinking. I've even seen some pretty sharp action on the over here, but no, 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 no. I don't know. I don't think so in this one. Um, will it be in the 60s? Quite likely, but whether or not they can get to 70 points, that's where I've got to pump the brakes a little bit because with Memphis being a road favorite, I think that's where it's going to come down to kind of uh, end up being look there's no problem. Memphis has been scoring, there's no doubt. They've gone over in 5 of their 7 games, but North Texas at home, look, the defense is not good. I understand all that, but Memphis may be in position to win and cover this game. And I think if they do that, that's going to end up being a game that's going to fall short of 70 points if Memphis can get a win and a cover. Now, last year it went way over. Memphis was at home. They won 44-34, did not cover the spread as a 13-point favorite. The total in that game was 69. So it was expected to be that high scoring of a game. And the sharps are all over the over. I'm pretty sure. I think you can. I think you can. I think you could bet on that. Feels like they are over, but I don't think they're always winning in a spot like this. So I don't think. Look, like I said, it's going to the 60s. Sure. If I thought it was in the 50s, it'd be a premium. I'm just not going to get to 70. And we have Memphis is the better team. I mean, I'm looking probably to play Memphis, and I probably wouldn't do it on the show at 7.5. Now, like I said, it went down to 7 at Bovada. I just want to keep the best, the toughest price on there. And if I'm going to always lay the toughest price with you guys so that we get good prices at the window, yeah, maybe this would be a free pick here for Memphis. Because I don't think I can get to Memphis as a premium necessarily. But I think Memphis, is the better team. North Texas, though, watch out. They've covered 3 straight, and the other thing about it is they've gone under in 3 straight as well. With maybe they beat Temple at home. Temple's bad. They beat them up 45-14. They covered just last week at Tulane. They lost by only 7 points at Tulane. At Tulane. 35-28 is a 20-point underdog. So they might be able to compete here, but I think more significantly, I do like this game to go under. North Texas has gone under in 3 straight. Michigan State and Minnesota. You got Minnesota here favored on this one. And Minnesota here favored by 7. There it is. Game number 121, 122. Right at the top of the board. And the total here is, there we go. Okay. And the total here is currently at 40, dropped to maybe its lowest number so far, open 41.5 here with Michigan State and Minnesota. Saw Michigan State not ready for their matchup against the binocular laden Michigan team last week. And maybe this might be a better matchup here this week for Michigan State against Minnesota. Maybe they may be more apt to compete here in this one. I don't think that, Minnesota possesses the same type of defense that Michigan certainly possesses. So maybe Michigan State can have a little bit more success, it feels like, offensively here. But you know what? Maybe so can Minnesota. I don't know if we're ready for one of those drop down, drag out games here necessarily, as Thomas likes Michigan State. But I don't know if it's going to be necessarily uh, the Big Ten low scoring game. I feel like I want to go over in this one with Michigan State. Minnesota can probably, you know, put up some points. I mean, after all, they are favored in the game. Michigan State, this has always been a terrible matchup for Michigan State. Minnesota's covered 7 of the last 8 meetings between these two games, a series that usually the points come into play. The underdogs covered 12 of the last 15 meetings. Michigan State's not doing very well in some key categories as well when it comes to covering. They're just 2-9-1 against the spread in their last 12 games against a team with a winning record. And they're also 2-6-1 against the spread their last 9 games on the road. Minnesota's not covering very well either. They've covered just 2 of their last 8 games. But for me, I'm gonna end up going over in this game at 40.5. Nothing to indicate these teams necessarily haven't been, trending over necessarily, but for me at 40.5, with Michigan's, Michigan State is going to be more comfortable here for sure, I would think, in this one. And, you look at a game like where they just went in and, played Rutgers, where they were a 4-point dog, remember, and that one was 27-24 when they played at Rutgers as a 4-point dog. So you tell me Minnesota is going to be a 7-point favorite. To me, I would think, maybe the spread is a little heavy. Feels like it's going to be about a touchdown game. So to me, if it is going to be a 1 touchdown game, I think Michigan State probably hangs in there, and that's going to get this one probably over the total. It feels like to me. I mean, Michigan State even went over against Iowa, at Iowa. They were getting 10 points in that one, and the total was 36.5. This one feels like, it's going to be close. I'm not going to have any premium probably in this game. The total is going to end up right there, like 42, 43 points, what I feel like. If it was a closely rated game here, I probably would lean under, actually. If it was Minnesota by 3 or 4, maybe it'd end up around 38. Now, I know those are fine lines, but I mean, that's just, to me, that's the way tempo goes. And that's what I specialize in, are totals. So I'm going over here. People always say, you're costing your, with totals, because people, but to me, more people give out sides. I like to give out totals. Less people do it. So you can always count on me for your totals. And I'll take over in this one. Now I've got Virginia going up against Miami after we just talked about Miami a little bit with that game against Clemson. Miami here, pretty big favorite. Is it 19 and 47.5? Wow, this total's been dropping too. When we were on the opening lines report, we reported that the total had opened 52.5 and was bet down to 50, and now it's all the way down to 47.5. So 5-point move here this week on the total between Virginia and Miami. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. I probably agree with it at 52, but at 47.5, I can't think that that's going to work. I actually feel like now there's no value left in the under. I don't know if I want the over, because to me the sharps are all on the under. This one I know I've joked around, I say I know who the sharps are on. And I've had a few games recently where I'm like, I don't even know. To me, they're going to be on the under. And of course they are. That's why the line's been driven down so substantially here. I don't think there's any, other situations here. Let me dive into it a little bit with you guys here, and just make sure that oh, if I can. If not, we'll just keep on moving because this thing's bothering me. All right, guess not. Darn it. There we go. So yeah, I mean Van Dyke has been upgraded to probable. I mean, I think we knew that Van Dyke was going to be playing. I mean, you want Van Dyke in there. I mean, uh, the leg injury that he suffered. Look, he's 1,700 yards passing this season, and maybe that's why Miami's been bet up here to 19. I mean, it's a pretty legitimate move um, here to Miami. I mean, I kind of want to buy into it a little bit. It feels high. It feels pretty darn high at 19, but it opened at 15, and you know I'm sure it's based on some of that information about Van Dyke, but that broke yesterday, and we've already seen this thing get hit here once today at 17 and a half, but I don't think it was widely reported steam. So why the adjustment? Mm, now I'm a little bit mad because I wanted to lay 17 and a half as a premium. Okay, I better, you know what? I better just lay the points with Miami here at 19. I don't feel great now about it. Um, I was going to go premium. I thought it was 17 and a half even as early as this morning. It felt like. I mean, I know I have 19 typed in on the screen there, and maybe I was just doing it by, I was typing them in pretty fast, make sure I didn't even put two and two together. I mean, I have Miami marked down here as a premium. I was going to give out the total. Um, Here, that's gone down too far. So this game isn't working out for me necessarily. Let me give out Miami of Florida here to roll this one by 3 touchdowns against Virginia. We know Virginia's issues this season: 2-5 straight up. Miami 5-2, 4-1 record so far at home this season. Miami's not getting numbers. That's what scares me. And you know, I was if there was no Van Dyke, probably was going to make probably was going to be on Virginia. The line was probably going to be closer to 2 touchdowns, but I think with him in there, yeah, let's go ahead and take Miami as play. If Thomas is going to be on here with Virginia. Me too, Thomas. I'm having some technical issues. Duke and Louisville college football selection for Saturday, October the 28th. Duke here on the road at Louisville. And in this one, I'm showing currently that Louisville, 4-point favorites, total down to 46.5. When we were on that circus show, that opening line show, it was 51.5. It has since gone down here to 46.5. Not really based on too much sharp movement here, it seems like, but definitely I've seen a 5-point move to the under. I'm not sure that I get it. I mean, okay, Duke, pretty good D. Yeah, I that much I get. And Louisville struggling? Um, I don't think so. Not offensively, right? I mean, the defense is good too. Don't get me wrong. This has been a great situation for Louisville so far this season. I mean, this is a big game. I mean, 6-1 against 5-2 overall, and where the teams stand right now. Louisville, for their 6-1 record, they're still just 3-3, 3-1 against the spread this season. While Duke, with their 5-2 record, they're 4-3 against the spread. Now Duke, they've covered 8 of their last 11, but only 4 of their last 16 on the road. So they usually kind of struggle, in that role. Louisville has gone under in 8 of their last 12 games, but this totals should. I've got this game in the 50s. I have this game at least 50 points, and I was ready to go over at that at 51 and a half. I was probably going over, probably maybe a free play or something, maybe a recommendation. Then at that 47, I wanted to come in on the over. I know the Sharps are going to come back on the over here. I feel like this one will go back up. Well, I don't think it might not go back to 51 and a half, but look, with Plummer, 1,900-yard passer this season. And Ferner says, don't forget, about Louisville losing to Pitt at Pitt, 38-21, as a 7-point favorite last game. But they had played 3 pretty good games before that, including the home win over Notre Dame. So I'm going to go over here. I don't see it necessarily the way I think I think the teams are too good. Um, you know, to play this game necessarily, whatever the move is. I don't feel like it's a sharp move. I don't even know if it's based on, other than like maybe what was said there by Ferner talking about that, and maybe of course the Duke, they only scored 20 points at Florida State last week, and Florida State's better than Louisville, but by how much I don't know. I mean, Louisville's pretty good. Yeah, Florida State, they're, could be in the playoff the way it's going. Who'd have thunk that Florida State was going to turn around like that? And, Duke also, you could compare. They lost to Notre Dame at home 21-14, but I'll take over in this one with Duke and Louisville. All right, Purdue and Nebraska in this one with Purdue on the road. Nebraska, a home favorite. Just the words themselves are quite scary to want to lay points with Nebraska here. I don't, ever feel too comfortable in doing that right now. Obviously, with Purdue, it's going to be, Nebraska's 4-3. Duke and Purdue is, 2-5. So, if anything, Rule has done an okay job here, certainly at this point. Nebraska 3-4 ATS, and Purdue, meanwhile, is just 2-5 against the spread. But for me, I would think if I can grab a couple of points here, and maybe I won't do a a free play necessarily. I kind of want to give Nebraska a chance to win the game, so I'd have to buy the hook if I was going to take Purdue. But at the total of 39, again, with these, I don't know, with these Big Ten matchups, the way they're kind of unfolding right now, I kind of want to give up on all those Big Ten unders to a certain extent. All the trends would point to the under in this game. I understand that. But do you think the bookmakers are just giving money away when they open totals higher in these Big Ten games? Don't they know they're going to get hit? Or are they actually, say, hey, we'll just give some people, the people who want to come in early, just great prices? This game opened 43.5 when we were on the show on Sunday, was bet down to 42. Now it's all the way down here to 39. Trust the bookmaker once in a while, okay? That's what I feel like. Purdue is 12-5 to the over in their last 17 games as an underdog. So even though Nebraska, everything kind of point, they've gone under at home in 7 of their last 9. They've been going under in conference games. Purdue kind of been an under in conference games the last couple of years. And Thomas is going to take Purdue. I can't quite get there on Purdue, Yet, I mean, I'd need at least 4.5 points. It feels like, and we're never going to get there. Now, am I more apt to take Purdue and buy some points? Yeah, maybe I then wanted to lay it with Nebraska. Yeah, if this were a pick 'em, I'd be on probably Nebraska. It's kind of that same thing I mentioned as a little while ago. But Purdue, they have a 1,600-yard passer so far in Hudson Card, and look, Nebraska offensively, they kind of a disaster certainly, but uh, they they the game against Northwestern last week. Look, I get it. 26 points here at home went way under, and uh, I don't know. I it opened, like I said, opened 43 and a half. I thought that number was much better. I'm going to take the over. It's just going to be a free play because, like I said, trends would indicate that's me scared. I'll be on the over, just basing this one on my ratings here at this point. Teams have combined to go 5-9 to the under so far this season, and the sharps appear to be on the under too. Quite frankly, they're the ones that are driving this number down. They went right in and challenged the books.